Previously, on Say It Elsewhere.
He's Legionnaire's disease.
What would that mean?
The entire hospital would have to be closed down.
I'm really not in the market for a car, Mark.
Not a car, a classic.
Some guy named Barnum wants to buy it.
No, he doesn't. You see, I'm Barnum.
And now she's 3 months pregnant. She's only been out of here for 2 months.
They're building a nest. I can see that. And she's gonna have a baby in there. Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
Tonight, on Say It Elsewhere.
Conservative at a coming out party because she's having hysterectomy.
That's just Leslie's way of dealing with things.
Or do you wait till he's in love with you or you're in love with him and then spring it on him? Geez, I've had this hysterectomy and...
Well, I refuse to raise our child in an open-top nest.
Do you think Ralph is able to function in the world?
Yes, I do.
Barnum? I, made him up. Hey, how you know so much about birds, Ralph? I am a bird.
Anything else?
The engine of Pectorus in 438? He's talking gibberish.
It's Portuguese. He's from Angola.
Oh, I just thought he was nuts.
Get some sleep.
Another message from Barnum.
Dr. Pat Barnum?
Says if he doesn't hear from me soon, he'll assume I sold the car to somebody else. Ever hear of a Barnum?
Sorry?
How do I talk to this guy?
I don't get it. You know, I've been sending bogus messages from Barnum to Craig all week long, but I ain't sent any messages for him. What do you... I don't believe it. What are you doing, huh?
Surprise!
A little twisted, if you ask me.
Nobody asked you.
Well, I've never been accused of being too conservative, but a coming out party because she's having hysterectomy.
That's just Leslie's way of dealing with things.
It's still twisted. Besides, I wasn't invited.
Don't push yourself too hard. We only have 40 extra patients, you know.
Well, I didn't get to sleep till 5 a.m.
5 oh my, it's the nightlife that's gonna kill you. What's in that box?
Oh, wine.
What are those holes you're letting it breathe? Oh, Luther, come on, go get some rest.
I gotta see somebody.
Well, we need another orderly a la carte.
I'll call the maitre d'.
Good morning. What are you doing lying in bed on such a beautiful day? You should be out walking. You finished?
Yeah. I'm being consumed by my own appetite. All I do is eat, and when I'm not eating, I think about food.
How much have you gained?
4 pounds.
Oh, that's nothing. You know what I gained when I was pregnant? 45.
You gained 45 pounds?
Yeah. Hold this. Yeah, that was my first marriage. I was Mrs. Eisenberg then. You know, I'd never even seen potato latkes before. They were wonderful. Cheese blintzes, lots of sour cream. I got so fat, I couldn't get my wedding ring off, and my feet swelled up 2 sizes. But the worst thing about getting so fat is stretch marks.
What can you do?
Well, eat sensibly. In your case, probably eat enough. And exercise.
Every day?
Mm-hmm. Morning and night. Okay. And enjoy being pregnant. I envy you.
Sure doesn't sound like it.
I do.
Right after you left for Cabo San Lucas, another patient came down with similar symptoms, so I didn't wait to hear from Atlanta. I closed down the ward.
Cummings is quite upset. He's a good man, you know.
I know. Just doing his job.
It's a very difficult, in some ways, unrewarding job.
I wasn't being facetious.
Have we found the source of contamination?
No, not yet. We checked the air conditioning, heating units. They're all clear.
Ventilation?
Nothing.
No stone unturned.
Let's hope not.
Okay. Off to the wards. Fighting the good fight.
Dr. Chandler. You're a doctor, right?
Right.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Now, you know how sometimes something can go wrong with you in your body, but it's not really coming from your body, but coming from your mind?
Psychosomatic.
Right, psychosomatic. Well, if a person can have this problem, can, like, other things have psychosomatic problems?
Things? What other things?
Well, like plants and animals and other things like that.
You mean, would plants and animals have psychological problems?
Yeah.
You mean, like, do dogs get depressed?
Yeah.
It's very interesting, Luther.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about it. You see, it seems logical that where there's brain activity, you would suffer from some sort of psychological problems.
Doc, plants don't have brains.
That's right.
But dogs do. And horses do. And cows do. And pigeons.
Look, Luther, are you going to stand here and ask me about every animal in the zoo? I mean, I got a lot of patience to see.
I understand, Doc. Just carry on. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. And I know patience are more important than peace. Thank you, Doc. Thanks a lot.
Patrick and I went sailing up the coast of Bar Harbor last weekend.
Hey, how'd you manage that?
I got Carol to cover for me.
No, I don't believe this. Any Caballero actually chooses personal pleasure over professional responsibility? And the Farland guy must really be something else.
You know what he did?
What?
There's a 9-year-old girl, Tammy Plummer, up in Traction.
Yeah.
Heartbroken because she can't play in the school soccer team. I told Patrick about it the other night. The next day, he shows up in her room and spends 2 hours telling her about lobster fishing. Now she's got a crush on him.
Sounds like she's not the only one. I envy the Caballero.
You, the man with a girl in every
I
on-call
haven't
room.
felt like that since I was married. Huh, what year that was. Graduated from Dartmouth, accepted at UCLA, in love with the most beautiful woman in the world. And Chateauguay won the Kentucky Derby, paid off 10-1.
That's what I like about you, Ben. Deep down, you're just a sentimental guy. Hi, Leslie.
What do you think?
Very festive.
Good.
How are you feeling?
I'm ready for the hysterectomy, if that's what you mean. Everything set?
First thing in the morning.
Now, you promise I'm only going to be in here a week.
Maybe less. Oh, thanks for the tickets to last night's performance.
Oh, how was it?
Ah, wonderful. But your friend Victoria can't dance like you.
Says who?
Me?
You never saw me dance.
That's all right, I can tell. I have a very artistic eye, in case you haven't noticed. Not to mention the fact that I was a semi-finalist in the Larchmont Junior High Twist Contest in 1964.
Coming to my party?
Can I bring my Chubby Checker records? See you.
Steve, cut it out, Ralph. Conspiracy. Quit it, Ralph. Voleur. Quit it, I'm going to kick you for this, Ralph.
Nuts to you, Bill. Nuts to you.
Hey, what's going on here?
He won't come down, Dr. Bill. I tried going up, but he keeps throwing things at me. Tweezers, thermometers. He hit me in the head with a bedpan. Those things hurt.
Ralph, what in the hell are you doing up there?
Building a nest, Bill. What does it look like I'm doing?
Look at the junk he's got up there.
It's a very impressive nest, Ralph. Look at that, Bill. That is one impressive habitat. You building that nest for you and Jane? He's building a nest for his sweetie. Ralph and Jane are gonna have chicks.
Look, I don't care. I got orders to get rid of that thing.
What if I can convince him to relocate it?
Okay.
Ralph, would you consider relocating the nest?
Would you ask Shah Johan to move the Taj Mahal?
He won't move it, Bill.
Well, he's got to. Move it or lose it, Ralph. Hey, don't give him that.
Abadou J'accuse! Cuban speculators are buying up all the e-tickets at Disney World.
Calm down.
Provocateur, defoliator, free Rachel Carson.
Ralph! Bill. Exactly why do we have to move the nest?
Well, all I know is what my supervisor told me.
Well, why couldn't we take a little ecological license and leave it?
I can't do that, Dr. Bill.
Just until things are straightened out. I'll take full responsibility.
And Nicolette says to me, I ain't gonna use no IUD. My sister used an IUD and she got pregnant anyway. And when the baby was born, he had the IUD in his hand. Now, how you gonna argue with something like that, huh?
Is there any way for Leslie to avoid the hysterectomy?
No, she's got stage 2 cervical carcinoma.
Who's he attending?
Allison.
The master of the soft touch. He adopts the authoritative fatherly tone. Drives me nuts. He's always so quick to take everything out. Why does she need a uterus? She's got enough kids. No more periods. She'll thank me.
My mother had her ovaries removed. The doctor told her to, so she did it without asking any questions. She got old real quickly after that. The lack of estrogen caused her to go into early menopause.
ALGYNs don't always emphasize a difference in a pap smear between inflammatory reaction and neoplasia. And they can't understand why a woman won't come to them electively when they know how rough he's going to treat her during the examination.
You know, I really like Leslie. I don't know, I just feel like we have this real rapport. I can see us being good friends. I just hate to see her go through all this.
I tell you something, Annie. You know, if things were reversed, and it was men facing castration, we'd see a hell of a lot fewer operations.
Hey, Victor, how are you? Buy the books. Greg's lecture.
It's on pediatric cardiac surgery, and I know he's going to try to put me on the spot. 3 textbooks worth of stuff, okay? And he's going to try to nail me. I know it.
Well, do what I used to do in college. You see, you take the offensive. You find some hidden, intelligent question in there to ask him. Dr. Craig answers it, thinking you must know everything if you got brains enough to have asked something so obscure.
You think so?
Trust me. But if I were you, I'd ask Dr. Barnum.
Barnum?
Yeah, you see, he's the only one who can understand the complexities of a case like this. Dr. Craig. How are you, today?
Sorry, Dr. Craig. Excuse me. Studying.
So, a bird's nest, of course, they vary with the species. I'm talking about your round or open-top nest, like a robin's, not your close-structured one, like a marsh wren's. Anyway, I'm convinced that every open-top nest is built according to the same algebraic formula that an engineer uses to calculate stress.
And you worked out the formula?
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And you know why there's been so much speculation and argument back and forth? I mean, this has been a hot issue for the past 25 years.
Why?
Because nobody has actually bothered to build a nest before. I mean, they took them apart and they built structures like nests before, but I built one. It uses materials readily available from the environment, and it was constructed by one individual within a time frame to allow for the incubation of eggs.
Well, I refuse to raise our child in an open-top nest.
Not even for science?
Not even.
Well, how about a 2-story wood-framed house in Essex with a bird feeder on the back porch?
You got a deal.
Screech owl got a snake!
Henry's got an owl fixation. Hey, Ralph. Luther, you know my mate Jane?
Oh, sure, how could I forget?
Hey, remember what we were talking about? Can you give me a hint?
Julius, I think it's a psychological problem.
I, as Julius, the paragon of pigeons. What's up?
Can you follow me for a second?
Abiento, my little chickadee.
Close it easy, easy. Let me move some of this stuff. Okay. Everything will be all right. Oh, look at him. Wow. Look at the poor guy. I know who did this too. Pico Martinez. He's been sneaking to my coop, sabotaging my pigeons. He's been prancing up and down the block, bragging about my pigeons doing the fastest practice time. And he said my days are numbered. There ain't a bird in the state that can take on Julius. These guys, they have no feel for the sport, no tradition, you know what I mean? Guys like that are just in it for the money, pure and simple. I mean, Pico, if a bird starts slowing down, he throws him right into the street. I mean, the bird could have flown his heart out for the man.
His feathers are all dried out. When they last preen?
3-4 days. He hasn't done anything. I've been force-feeding him sugar water for the last 2 days.
You got any mercurochrome and mineral oil? Also some cotton swabs.
Cotton swab.
Speak to her. It'll be okay.
See this guy, Pico? He knows this guy, Hernandez. He lives about 4 buildings down. He climbs over the fire escape, over the roof, and he looks into my coop. He's been spying on my birds, trying to steal my training program. See, I got this secret vitamin formula. I willed it to my cousin Leroy, and when I die, he gets it not a day before. Unless I get out of the sport altogether. And I might do that if Julius doesn't make it. Going down with the champ, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. A thorn. Yeah. It got embedded between the scapula and the humerus. He couldn't get to it. Poor guy dying of pain. Yeah, he stopped eating so he'd die faster. They like to get it over with. They'll fly into a wall if they can find a wall. Listen, Eddie. Hey, how you know so much about birds, Ralph? I am a bird. Bird. I bet you've been missing that updraft down by the harbor. A sharp left and you're home free.
The tetralogy of Fallot is one of the most frequent and serious congenital cardiac malformations, commonly accompanied by cyanosis. It was one of the first congenital heart lesions to yield a highly successful palliative operation. Yes.
Don't infants with tetralogy of Fallot usually manifest distress shortly after birth and succumb unless an operation is performed?
That's right, Ehrlich. And I'm sure you're aware that cyanosis isn't normally present at birth.
Yes, sir.
And why is that?
Why? Yes.
Ehrlich?
Yes.
Can you tell me why cyanosis isn't normally present at birth?
Yes. Yes. And no.
The answer to that question, Dr. Ehrlich, stems from a landmark operation performed in 1944 by Blalock and Taussig, the first successful systemic pulmonary artery anastomosis. You moron. Did you think I wouldn't know a loaded question? Residents have been trying to get away with that kind of crap ever since Semmelweis first washed his hands. Disappointed. I thought you were better than that. Anyone else want to pick up the ball? Dr. Ehrlich just fumbled. How about you, Chandler?
In most children, cyanosis isn't present at birth because of persistent ductus arteriosus. As the child gets older, dyspnea on exertion usually follows.
Very good. Now, a characteristic position, such as squatting, is then assumed to relieve fatigue. Now, this position has great diagnostic significance and is highly characteristic of tetralogy of Fallot. It usually produces an increase in the systemic arterial oxygen saturation. Cyanosis of the lips and nail beds is apparent. The patient might appear to be smaller than you would assume from his or her age. Excuse me. Doctor? Are you Barnum? Hey, Dr. Barnum! Wait a minute. Hold on.
Jane?
Hi.
You look pretty as a picture. How are you feeling?
Wonderful.
Good. I wish I could say it was something I did. I think you're ready to check out of the hospital.
You do?
Dr. Morrison says there's no medical reason that you can't be released, and besides, we have a closed ward, and there's some sick people who need the bed.
I'd like to stay a while longer. I don't feel ready.
Does this have anything to do with Ralph?
I don't want to leave him.
see.
Dr. Beale, when I first checked in here, I couldn't talk to people. I couldn't even look into a person's eyes. I was scared. Felt like a shell with nothing inside. Ralph helped me. He made me feel full, and I don't just mean the baby. I can't leave him here.
Do you think Ralph is able to function in the world?
Yes, I do.
You know, I could swear that I heard a Scarlet Tanager's mating call coming from room 609 this morning.
He just does that for a joke. He doesn't mean any harm.
You and I know that. But what if Ralph is on a crowded bus, rush hour, and suddenly he gets the urge to be a short-billed dowager?
He wouldn't do it, not then.
Or he sees a construction worker up on a girder. I don't think the guy would appreciate being pelted by a bald eagle.
He wouldn't do that, Dr. Beale.
It's rough out there, Jane. You know that.
Ralph's an extraordinary person. He has a remarkable mind.
He's brilliant, no denying that. Maybe even a genius.
He graduated summa cum laude from MIT.
Facts like that can be misleading.
When he was only 19, he designed an entire computer system for Kirkwood Moore Corporation.
Jane, I'm not arguing with you. I'm simply trying to tell you that even a genius sometimes cannot handle the day-to-day problems. He couldn't before.
But now he's got me, and he'll have the baby, and that makes all the difference in the world.
Can you take care of yourself, the baby, and Ralph?
You deserve a chance. Everybody deserves a chance.
How about if I take you and Ralph to dinner? Have you ever eaten fresh green linguine?
You mean for a test?
The last time Ralph had a day pass, he didn't come back for a week. When he did, he was unconscious. He slit his wrists. I don't think Ralph is ready to take on the world. But, as you say, everyone deserves a chance. So, how about it? Dinner?
Thank you.
Well, the sun kept getting hotter, beat down on me, till my face started to feel like an old leather pouch. But I still held on to that pole. My knuckles kept getting wider as I held tight. A couple of times I thought he'd pull me into the water after him, but then whoosh, he flew out of that sea foam like a rocket and bam, landed right in the boat. A long time after that, we lay there, the sailfish and I, panting. I spent the rest of my stay at Capo San Lucas flat on my back in the beach chair. But I got him.
When are we going to see him mounted?
Well, I'm afraid I'm getting soft-hearted. I threw him back. I had no choice. He had the look of a grandfather.
Yes, Elisa. Disease control in Atlanta. Greg. Oh, you did. That's wonderful. That's terrific news. Thank you, sir. All of you. We owe you one. You bet. Goodbye. Thanks. Found the source of the Legionnaires.
Where was it?
One of the heads in the auxiliary shower just off Ward 5. It's only used for patient overflow. Got it?
Well, let's reopen the ward.
You bet. Oh, boy. What a monkey off the back, huh?
How'd you get Ralph to move this?
I promised him he could have it in his room.
Let's see. He stole 2,100 tongue depressors, 5,400 cotton balls, 7 dozen gauze bandages, How long did it take you to build this thing?
53 hours. It was an experiment.
It was the felony.
He finally figured out how birds do.
Apparently.
Make nests, I mean.
So 2 psychiatric patients got together to lay eggs.
Not exactly the way Mother planned.
No, but I don't know. I've seen a lot of kids with everything in the world going for them, and some of them are pretty screwed up. You know, you really can't tell who's going to be the best parent or the best kid, can you?
Mm.
Seems to me Jane's own instincts are going to save her. Oh, hello, Mrs. Craig. I think Dr. Craig's in surgery.
Yes, I know. Excuse me.
Sure.
I'll pick you up at 7:30,
Ben.
okay? Ellen, hi, how are you?
I need to talk to you.
Sure.
Is there someplace private?
The lounge, okay? Good. So, what's up? Mark still giving you grief about learning Russian?
I want to talk to you about Barnum.
Who?
Dr. Pat Barnum.
Oh, yeah, right. It's a good man, I'm told.
You're Barnum. And don't try to deny it. There's a sucker born every minute, but I'm not one of them. Mark wouldn't be one either if he had any kind of memory. Like the time you had the nurses set up an abdominal tray instead of a cardiac tray for a triple bypass. Okay, let me tell you what's been going on since Dr. Barnum entered our lives. Mark spent all day Saturday and Sunday washing, polishing, vacuuming that car, just in hopes that Dr. Barnum would materialize. Last night he spent 3 hours trying to get the ping out of the cylinders.
I'm sorry.
Yesterday he cut his hand. You know how that can scare a surgeon? He's obsessed, Ben. And I'm here to tell you that it's gone far enough.
I'm sorry. I'll tell him.
Thank you. My stomach's been in knots. I was afraid I'd have to be the one.
Probably because you smoke too much. You want some coffee?
Must be intermission. Oh, they're getting her ready. Oh, it won't take long. Would you like me to get your chair, Mrs. Stevenson?
Oh, no, thank you. I'm fine.
She's my only daughter. She's always been so full of life. I remember when she first learned to talk, she'd go around the house saying everything she was doing out loud, you know. Like, now Leslie's going up the stairs, and this is the first stair. Now Leslie's taking her bath in the big bathtub. She shared everything. One time she said, she was only 2, she said, "I'm happy in the big world." It was good for me, you know, because I've never had such a positive outlook myself. She can always adopt, Mrs. Stevenson. She won't, though. I know the way she is. This will settle it for her. You younger women, you want your careers. Maybe you think children are a burden. It's not that I want grandchildren. It's just that nothing can bring so much joy into your life. Nothing. Now she'll never know that. That's why she can act like this. She just doesn't know.
It's nothing serious. It's just a flu, or as we refer to it affectionately, a minor upper respiratory infection. give him some antibiotics, and he should be running around like a banshee by morning. It shouldn't be long. Why don't you have a seat?
Figured out what's wrong with me yet?
Yep. You got Pac-Man fever. I'm gonna give you some medicine that'll keep Speedy off your tail.
Doctor, could I speak to you for a moment? Privately.
Of course, nurse. Meet me in the on-call room in 15 minutes.
Now. What is that?
Come, even at Tucson Nursing College, I'm sure they taught you the rudimentary facts of the male anatomy.
In case you don't know, Doctor, it being your first year, guns aren't allowed in the hospital.
Well, tell that to patients. I had a Gomer in here yesterday with a sawed-off shotgun.
This isn't funny, Fiscus.
I know. I'm wearing it for protection. Yours as well as mine.
Don't you see enough bullet holes in this place as it is?
Look, I'm not going to use it unless it's absolutely necessary. Here. Hold it. Not bad, huh? What do you think?
Here. You better get rid of it.
Just think, is there anything you don't like about restaurants?
Hey, let's go check out the nest. What do you say?
No.
This is ridiculous. I'm not Eliza Doolittle, and we're not going to the Hungarian ball. We're having dinner with a psychiatrist who doesn't know cannelloni from camembert. And he wants to test me.
If you think about it before it happens, it won't be scary.
I'm a scientist, not a bird brain. Believe me, I won't cut my artichoke with a knife and fork. And I'm not scared.
I am. Come on, Ralph, please. Pretend I'm the waiter.
Why?
So I won't be scared. Do you want me to be scared?
All I ever wanted is for you to be strong and happy. Okay, but let me be the waiter. Our specials tonight are scungili marinara, oysters and garlic butter, and scampi il trovatore.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti?
Mm-hmm.
Madam, if you want spaghetti, you can go to the supermarket. We serve pasta.
Oh.
May I suggest our house specialty, octopus verdi?
Octopus?
'Cause I only have arms for you. Prego, pronto, presto, molto dolore, amore mio.
If you don't want to do it, we don't have to.
I was only having some fun. Is there something wrong with having fun now, or is that against the law, too, along with laughing and talking too loud unless you're at a baseball game? What's my next test, huh? Do you want me to walk across the BU bridge without jumping off? Hey. I'm sorry.
You should be.
Don't worry, I won't screw up.
Promise me.
I promise.
Spare me the explanations. You get him to stop smoking and to start exercising, or else the next time we meet, he'll be at his wake. Now, good day.
Mark, you got a minute?
What?
I'd like to talk to you.
Make it snappy, Ben. I'm busy.
It's about Barnum.
Barnum?
The reason why you've been having trouble reaching him is that he doesn't exist.
Who doesn't exist?
Barnum.
What do you mean?
I made him up.
Made him up? So, why would you do a thing like that?
Well, it was sort of a joke. I'm sorry. I guess I should apologize.
No, don't.
I mean, I know I made you feel stupid. And...
Oh, boy, you really got me this time, Samuels.
Yeah.
I really went for it, didn't I?
Hook, line, and sinker.
Well, it's funny, right?
Well, I'm glad you see the humor in the situation.
The humor? Are you kidding? It's hysterical. I mean, when I think of the pages on the intercom and the phone messages.
Yeah, the ping in the cylinders.
And the name. Barnum. I mean, really, the name.
P.T. Barnum. You get it?
I got it. You're demented.
You okay? He hit me. Yeah. Come on.
Bar still open?
Have a seat. I'll buy you a drink. Wards 4 and 5 appear to be operating smoothly again.
Yep. Yeah, well, we still have those 7 patients from 2 East to read, okay?
It's not too bad, is it?
No. How come you didn't tell me about losing that federal grant?
Didn't appear to be right at the time. They were hitting you from all sides.
Thank you. So that means we wait for that new EMI scanner for another year.
Well, we'll find the money someplace else. Have to work harder, that's all.
Money, money, money. Money shouldn't have anything to do with medicine. But we spend a disproportionate amount of our time just trying to get it. So public relations become more important than patient care.
Not more important. Maybe as important.
You know, sometimes I like to stand out in that hallway and holler, we're not gods, we're not magicians. Give up your grand illusions about doctors. But I suppose as long as people want to remain blissfully ignorant, healthcare is going to suffer. So who wins?
Yes?
Hi.
Elizabeth, what a pleasant surprise. What brings you down here?
Oh, I came to pick up my dad. Lisa told me you were down. Shopping, remember?
Yes, I remember. All right. She has a memory like an elephant, this one.
You look great, Dr. Auslander. How you feeling?
Better and better. Just got back from Cabo San Lucas.
Oh, really?
It's in Mexico.
I know that. And even if I didn't...
I know you'd say you did. Well, Red Onion Market awaits. Here we go. See you later, Daniel.
Bye.
Right. Good night.
Your brother home?
Yeah.
I spent an entire night in the cemetery once. Didn't sleep a wink.
Ralph, why?
Ken Bonifong dared me. There's no way I was gonna let that enfant terrible make fun of me. We were 11 years old. Scoozy. Oh, can we have 3 glasses of water with our meal?
We had this house in Gulfport that we all thought was haunted. The Butler place. Had a black housemaid named Floridel. We were too scared to even go up there. Floridel kept house for Mr. Butler, I'd say, about 35 years. After he died, she stayed on in the house for a while. Everybody said old Floridel could talk to the dead.
I bet there was a lot of gossip about what Mr. Butler and Floridel did in that house for 35 years.
Yeah, but nobody got too worked up about it, though.
Oh, why's that?
Well, Mr. Butler was president of the bank. Nobody much cared what he did as long as he lent him some money. Anyway, he finally died. The house stayed empty for about 5 years. He had some third cousins over in Jackson that were trying to figure out who got what. Floridel stayed for a while, but then she just up and disappeared.
Was she ever seen again?
Well, somebody said they saw her down in New Orleans selling flowers, but most people think that the devil came and got her. And they finally sold the house to a hellfire and brimstone preacher named Joe Willie Baptist. Now, Joe Willie put 2 huge flatbed trucks and put the house on the truck.
Mr. DeMeo in 218's got a sign taped up next to his bed. I will give a blood sample 1 time a day and 1 time only. Leukemia? Says he's starting to feel like a pincushion. His veins are all down. It's really pretty depressing. I'll talk to him tomorrow. Not tonight. Tomorrow. They push Leslie Stevenson back an hour tomorrow morning to 7. Do you want me to still hold in her medication, or should I give it to her now? Let's give it to her now. She needs to sleep. I'll do it. Who's doing the operation? Dr. Samuels. Sleep time.
Oh, thank God. It's probably the lousiest ceiling I've ever had to look up at.
These are lucky out pretty well. They've moved the operation up to 7 o'clock.
Sooner the better. Here's to damaged goods.
Don't think of yourself that way.
I won't. If they won't. Men, I mean. They will.
The right one won't. There's some terrific guys out there.
You know, I was just lying here, thinking about when it is exactly that you tell this kind of story to someone. I mean, what? On your first date over dinner? Look, Charlie, if you're looking for the breeding type, you're wasting your money. Or do you wait till he's in love with you, or you're in love with him, then spring it on him? Gee, see, I've had this hysterectomy. I'm all right. Really. Have you ever been pregnant, Annie?
No. But I've been thinking about it a lot lately.
I have. It's about 5 years ago. Just been in Boston about 6 months. Had my first real job as a dancer. The guy, his name was Kurt, wanted to marry me, but I said no. Not because I didn't love him, but I didn't want to be a mother then. I wanted to be a dancer. So I had an abortion. And people kept saying, oh, it must have been so hard, but it wasn't. Wasn't anything. I've barely thought about it since. I'm tired. I think I'll sleep now.
Have a good sleep.
Well, if it isn't the young Dr. Cabanero. I thought you would have gone out with the time.
That's nasty looking. What happened to you?
Nothing. Craig can't take a joke, and I can't take a punch.
Listen, that hysterectomy tomorrow morning. Leslie Stevenson.
Yeah?
She's a friend.
What, college buddy?
No, just a friend. She could use a little bedside manner tomorrow. Okay?
Absolutely. How is it with you?
Fine.
Yeah?
You said this morning that you envied me, my relationship with Patrick. Well, it isn't going to work out. He's such a nice guy, but already I can see the signs. Why is it that it doesn't work out? Why is that?
I don't know. Maybe because you don't want it to. At least, not right now.
I see Leslie lying in that room, and I feel like I'm looking into an open grave.
You're a young woman. Got a lot of time to have a family.
I'm not a cold person. Sometimes it can get so hard around here. So hard that I feel myself closing off desires, wants, dreams. When is it that what you have isn't worth what you're missing? Leslie Stevenson wanted a career, so she put everything else on hold until it was too late. She didn't plan for it to be that way. It just happened. She didn't plan for the passage of time. It just passed. I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want to wake up at 40 alone, without love, without children. I don't want that to happen to me.
Then don't you let it. You okay? I'm gonna take good care of your friend tomorrow. Get some sleep.
Well, that's the last time I go out with a public utilities employee.
Why? What happened?
Nothing.
We can't win. The NLRB says we can't unionize because we're students. Then the IRS says we have to pay taxes because we're doctors. So I'm borrowing money at the rate of 21%.
Hello, Ralph. Sweetheart, I'm not angry. Please don't be angry at yourself. I know you tried. I talked to my father today. first time in a long time. He says he wants to help. I believe him. He sounded different. Maybe it was me. Ralph, do you hear me? I remember when we first met. I was in my room crying so hard that they had to put me in restraints. You came in and started talking to me about flying. About the swallows in Mexico. And how you migrated 1,500 miles with them to the steeple in San Juan Capistrano. How you soared the Blue Ridge Mountains in an Indian summer sun. And landed finally on the highest branch of a 1,000-year-old pine tree. And looked down on a field of absolute stillness. Are you there now, Ralph? Is the wind filling your ears? The thing I'm trying to tell you is that the greatest day of my life was the day I met you. And no matter what anybody says about either of us, our child will know that in his heart. Goodbye, my high-flying bird. My eagle.